What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sunny in the Belt podcast with me, Jacob,
What's going on, guys? I'm Jordan.
and we're here, tournament edition, heading into the quarterfinals, happening on Saturday, March the 5th. We're going to recap our picks from the first round that happened on Thursday. But go ahead and like this video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @sunnyinthebelt_. So to kick it off, let's recap Thursday's picks. Didn't go so well. How'd you
Nope.
feel?
Not a very good way to start it off, to say the least. Kind of got robbed with the UL game.
Yeah, we had some bad beats. We had some bad.
But I also just did not see a lot coming. I don't think anybody saw the Little Rock South Alabama game coming. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that game.
Yeah, towards the second half of the season, I was like big on not picking Little Rock on the Thursday game, but picking them on the Saturday game for
Right.
regular season. But in a tournament, anything, and that was like against the spread, because they were getting blown out on Thursdays and then playing pretty close for Saturdays. But it's March, anything can happen, and I kind of felt like going into this game, South Alabama in their locker room were thinking to themselves, 2 weeks ago we 30-pieced this team. We beat them by 32. This is going to be easy. We're the 5th seed. They're the 12th seed. This is going to be easy.
Right.
And in the other locker room, Little Rock was like, you know what? Nobody's giving us, everybody's giving us crap all season. Let's go out and prove them wrong. So one team came ready and the other team got shook. And that's how it went down. South Alabama had some chances to get back in, but Jordan Jefferson for Little Rock went like 7 for 8 from the 3-point line. He scored 21 points, only threes. So it's hard. It's hard to lose a game when you shoot that well behind the arc. UL was up by 14 points with 3 minutes to go, and it just shows you that not no matter how big, but even if a team has a double-digit lead going into the final minutes, doesn't mean it's a done deal, right? So UTA was clawing back, a couple missed free throws by UL, a turnover, some made threes on the other end. Stuff can change quickly. I was surprised by the Arkansas State ULM game. I thought Arkansas State was going to cover. It looked like they were going to. But that one too was a bad beat. Arkansas State was up by 7, and ULM hit a 3-pointer with like 10 seconds left in the game, and it brought it down to 4. So stuff happens. This last one you got right though. Tell me your thought process on that.
Yeah, if anyone watched sort of my recap of last week's, or even just our last episode, this line I said did not make sense to me. I could not see how Coastal Carolina was a 6-point favorite, and I sort of, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again. I finally got one. I thought I would go 0 for 4. There was a high possibility after a while, but I just saw Georgia Southern coming out with sort of, a passion, sort of like how Little Rock came out. They sort of really controlled the game the entire time. I didn't watch the entire thing, but from what I saw, Georgia Southern was really putting it out. And after a certain while, I sort of knew they were going to at least cover the spread, just a matter of were they going to win. And they ended up pulling it out, which was very good. So luckily I was able to get one on the board, and I could avoid going 0 for 4.
Yeah, man. My thought process on this one was just, I thought Coastal was the better team going in. Georgia Southern has had a rough skid of games. Like they just have not won many in the past couple games that they've played. And I was proven wrong. You know, the Eagles came out and they showed their talent and they won this game pretty handedly. I think they were like in the lead, buzzer to buzzer. It almost seemed like so. All right, so our current standings after that 1-3 first round. Right now, I'm 18-21. Took some risks, did not pay off, and Jordan's at 19-20. We're still hanging in there, close to that 500 mark, though. You know, so you can take some uh, moral victories over there. But let's get into our quarterfinal picks happening on Saturday. The first game tips off at 11:30 between Louisiana and Texas State. Texas State being the 1 seed and Louisiana being the 8 seed. And we both picked UL +5. Jordan, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I was very happy with the way the Cajuns came out early. The problem with the Cajuns, though, and what we have seen is their ability to just blow a lead. Whenever it gets to that, late second half of the game, around, I would say, the 6-7 minute mark, for some reason, the Cajuns turn the ball over more. They stop playing defense and they miss more shots than what they've been doing. And that allows a team to get back into a game, which is what happened with UTA. It's happened numerous times to where they've blown a lead and they either lose at the last second or the game goes into overtime. So it's all about if UL can maintain sort of that momentum all the way throughout the game, which is a big reason why I have them at +5, just because I do feel like it's going to be a close game. They may not win it in the end. Texas State is a very good team. They're supposed to win this game. They're the number 1 ranked team in the Sun Belt. They won the Sun Belt regular season. So obviously they're going to be looking to eventually win this thing, something they couldn't do last year. So it's going to be a good game, but I like UL here +5. I feel like it's going to be a close game overall.
Yeah, I also took UL +5. I think this is a pretty interesting matchup. UL dropped both regular season meetings to Texas State. I think they got beat at home by 9 points. The game in San Marcos was a little closer, maybe lost that one by about 5 points. And they lost both games. It's hard to beat a team three times in a season. We see that in the NFL. You know, the 49ers beat the Rams twice, and the Rams got them that third time. In the first round, UL beat UTA, even though UTA beat them twice. I agree with you that the Cajuns have struggled towards the end of games and have struggled hanging on to leads. And I think a real big thing that's kind of evolved over the season with Louisiana is that at first they were losing a lot of those close games. Like, in a way, their record was sort of deflated because of losing so many close games. It wasn't like they were getting blown out by teams by any means. And as the season progressed, we started to see games also become close games towards the end, but the Cajuns started to pull it off and win those. I think after Monday's victory, it gave them a lot of confidence and momentum. As we know, like, basketball is a momentum sport. Last year, we saw App State run the table. They beat Texas State after winning their first round game. So Texas State last year had a first round bye, and they lost to the eventual champions, tournament champions. I think Texas State has a lot of pressure on them to win this game and kind of like win that conference tournament and go to the national tournament after being the regular season champion twice. But I wouldn't count out the Cajuns and pulling the upset and winning this one outright. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a hard-fought battle. We might see some calls go Texas State's way, being that number 1 team, trying to send our best team to the NCAA tournament. But if the Cajuns can hang in there and make some shots late, they could walk away with this one with a victory. Take the next one.
Yeah, so next game, we have Little Rock and Troy. Troy is favored by -8. We both have Troy -8. From what we saw with Little Rock last game, all props to them coming out and winning a game they really shouldn't have won. Um, being 12-point underdogs, 8 points is a lot of points as well. But for me, I just can't see them doing it again. And I've liked Troy this entire time that we've been doing this podcast. I feel like they're a solid team. They know how to win. They don't always cover the spread, so it'll be interesting, if they allow Little Rock to sort of hang in there. But for me, this one, again, I think it's kind of easy. I'm going to go Troy -8.
Yeah. So one of the reasons I'm picking Troy -8 is I think it just comes down to depth, right? And I know we're obviously biased towards Louisiana, but I'm going to use them as an example to compare with. Louisiana played 11 players in that Thursday game, right? And
Right.
so when you're thinking about a long tournament run where a team that has to play in the first round would theoretically have to win 4 games in a 5-day period, um, it's a little easier when you have depth, when you have the ability to put 11 different guys on the floor. Little Rock really only plays 5 or really 6 to 7 guys in the game. It's rare that they put like that 8th guy on the floor. So they went all out, beat a talented South Alabama team who was the 5th seed. They were 1 game, I think half a game out from that 4th seed, and beat a talented basketball team. But I think they used a lot of their energy, and even with a day off, I think they're going to be coming into this game with a little less gas in the tank. And Troy's talented and well coached. They're looking at the title as well. I think that whoever, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I think Troy will be able to cover the spread in this one.
Yep. Next game, we have Arkansas State versus Georgia State. Again, both of us are picking Georgia State -3.5. And if you have watched any of the podcasts, you would understand why. We both think Georgia State is probably the team to beat, in our opinion, going into this tournament. They are the hottest team. They have a very well-known history performing very well in this tournament in previous years. And for us, I can't speak for Jacob, but even though Arkansas State may have the better record here, it doesn't really show what's truly been going on, especially the past, I would say, month or so, with Georgia State really playing its best basketball and at the right time too. I would be very shocked if they don't even cover this spread, Jacob, 3.5 here. I think it's a very doable one. I kind of see this game being sort of an 8 to 10 point victory for Georgia State, really coming out with a statement win. Not to take anything away from Arkansas State. They've had a pretty good season this year. Give some credit to them, but at the end of the day, I just feel like this is Georgia State's game to lose, and they should easily cover the spread.
Yeah, I think about this game a little differently. This is my game of the day for the quarterfinals. I think it could be close. This is one of the picks that I'm really the least confident on, just because of the talent that Arkansas State has. For those of you who don't know, the guy that I had been talking about in a couple of the previous podcasts, Norchad Omier, he won Sunbelt Player of the Year and Sunbelt Defensive Player of the Year. He's very talented. This guy grabs almost every defensive rebound, it seems. He's very efficient inside the paint scoring. They've got a talented guard in Caleb Fields, who's a great ball handler and scorer. And they've got a handful of guys who can knock down threes. Like, it seems like every guy who's on the floor has the capability of hitting a three. That worries me from Georgia State's perspective, because as we saw in that Little Rock game on Thursday, if you hit your threes, you're going to be tough to beat. So I think this game is really going to come down to, can Arkansas State be efficient behind the 3-point line? And if they are, they're going to have a really good chance at winning. If not, Georgia State's going to roll. with this one. They don't have a singled out star who I would like put above like Norchad Omier, for example. But they play solid team basketball. As you said, Jordan, they're really hot right now. They are the team to beat in both of our opinions. I think they have the best shot at making it to the conference championship final.
Right.
And if they beat Arkansas State, no matter who they face in the next round, I think that'll be an easy win for them. So lowest line, I want to highlight that this is the lowest line of all the games
Right.
on Saturday. And Vegas doesn't get it wrong often. So I'm interested to watch this one. I think it's going to be a good one.
So last game of the day, we have
Favorite
Georgia
picks.
Southern. Yeah, Georgia Southern versus App State here. Jacob, I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Yeah, I'm taking App State -5.5. You know, this team won the conference tournament championship last year. I think their coach is very successful when it comes tournament time. Like we saw that last year. I think there's particular coaches in college basketball who you deem as like tournament coaches. And I believe that he's one of these, and his team obviously improved from last year. They were leading our conference for a large chunk of the year, being that number one spot, and struggled towards the end of the season and dropped from the number one seed to the number 4 seed. I think they'll keep that success going and show how their program is improving on a year-to-year basis. I was surprised that Georgia Southern won that game in the first round. I thought Coastal might be able to give App State a run for their money, but I just don't see Georgia Southern being able to compete with a team who's been rested, has practiced, and has seen the scout. Like they've known that their opponent was either going to be Georgia Southern or Coastal for the past week and a half. And now that it's Georgia Southern, they're prepared and they're ready. So I think App State covers. I think they're going to try to push for that conference tournament final again. They're going to go up against a tough test in the next round, whether it's Georgia State or Arkansas State. But I think App State covers in this one.
Yeah, I do feel like App State will win this game. I'll put that on record. I do have Georgia Southern at +5.5. Just how Georgia Southern played last game sort of is really affecting my opinion here. Maybe that's a bad thing, but I feel like with them winning that game and sort of having the momentum, coming in with confidence, and then even App State not really playing in recent time. Yeah, they are rested, but they're also going to be a little rusty to whereas Georgia Southern will not be. Again, I do feel like App State will win this game, 5.5 points. I can see them winning by 5, 4, it sort of being around there, but I do feel like it's going to be close. App State in the recent month as well has not had their best month of basketball. They've sort of been struggling as of late. I also feel like even though Georgia Southern has as well, sort of the momentum that it's going to carry over to where it will be at least a close game. So that's sort of my take. I do feel like App State will win, but I feel like Georgia Southern were able to cover that 5.5.
All right. So we had 2 lower seeded teams upset higher seeded teams on Thursday, with Georgia Southern being the 10 seed upsetting the 7, and Little Rock as the 12 seed upsetting South Alabama, who's the 5 seed. We've got a 1-8 matchup, a 3 or no, Troy's the 4. I apologize. App State is the 3 seed. I apologize. We've got the 4 seed versus the 12. We've got the 2 seed versus the 6, and we've got the 3 seed facing the 10th. If you had to say any, or not even any particular game, but how many lower seeds do you think there'll be any upsets? Or do you think it's going to be pretty chalk, 1, 2, 3, and 4 going into the semifinals?
The upsets I can see are the ones that are shown. I can see UL potentially pulling this one off. Like you said, it is a hard thing to do to beat a team 3 times. I do feel like UL sort of is playing for a lot. So is Texas State, but UL really overall did not have a great season this year, and I kind of want to make up for it in this tournament, which they can do. And then Georgia Southern, like I said, I feel like that game is going to be somewhat close, and if in a close game, in the final 2 minutes, anything can happen. The one I would pick UL more over Georgia Southern, just because I feel like, first off, I'm a UL fan, so I'm a little biased, but I do feel like they have a better chance. I could be totally wrong, though. That game could be easily get away from UL, but hopefully they're able to maintain it, and who knows, even win it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be one upset. I think 3 of the top seeded teams are going to make it to the semifinals, and one is going to lose in that first round. I also obviously biased. I think UL has the ability to upset Texas State. We saw Texas State have an early exit last year, and although they have a fire under them to like prove that stigma wrong, like prove what last year happened was an outlier. I can see that pressure being on them if they go down 7, 8, double digits, whatever. That pressure is going to be on them of, oh shoot, it's happening again. But on the other hand, an upset could be Arkansas State over Georgia State. We've talked highly about Georgia State over the past month or so about how as it gets closer to March, they just get better, blah, blah, blah. But we can't forget how they started at the beginning of the season. They just weren't hitting shots. They were struggling on offense, and just couldn't win games because they couldn't hit the shots when they needed them. And they've had a long break. They've had a week and a half off the court, not playing in any competitive games against an opposing team, and that could come back to bite them. So I think that first round bye is a blessing and a curse, right? Blessing in that you've had more time to rest, and then going forward in the tournament, you've played less, right? So less work on the legs. But the curse is that you haven't played in a while, and you're coming up against a team who has momentum. They're hyped up. They just won a game. Like a Little Rock, they're the 12th. They've got nothing to lose. Little Rock's got nothing to lose, right?
Right.
And Little Rock could come in here and just say, you know what? We beat Troy last week.
Right.
Or 2 weeks ago. We beat Troy 2 weeks ago.
They did.
Let's do it again. So I'm interested to see who that upset or what upsets will happen. I'm looking forward to watching these games. I think when we talk about upsets and stuff, it just shows how close in competitiveness our conference is.
It's March.
And it's March. So, all right, we'll end it there. Thank y'all for joining us and watching the video and hearing our picks. Feel free to share your picks below. Ask us any questions. We love to interact. We're hoping to get this YouTube live thing going. We're getting close. We are troubleshooting before this Zoom. So
figuring it out.
Jordan, you got anything to add?
Excited for these games. It's March. It's here. I'm glad we were able to do this episode together. It had been a little bit, but we're finally back at it. So hopefully our picks can bring us up above 500.
No doubt. All right. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @SunnyInTheBelt_. Thanks.
See you guys.